Today I'm going to share 7 powerful psychological triggers that will make you more likable instantly. These aren't tricks or manipulation. They are science-backed principles that tap into the human brain's natural response to connection. A smile is one of the most powerful yet underrated tools in human connection. It's universal, transcending language, culture, and background. A genuine smile has the ability to break barriers, ease tension, and create an instant sense of warmth. But beyond just being a pleasant expression, there is a deep psychological and scientific basis for why a smile makes someone more likable. When you smile, something fascinating happens in the brain, not just in your own, but in the minds of those around you. Smiling triggers the release of neurotransmitters like dopamine, serotonin, and endorphins. These chemicals are associated with happiness, relaxation, and trust. When someone sees you smile, their brain responds by releasing the same feel-good chemicals, creating an emotional mirroring effect. Essentially, your smile has the power to make others feel good just by looking at you. But there's a crucial difference between a genuine smile and a forced one. A genuine smile, also known as a Duchenne smile, engages not only the mouth, but also the eyes. The muscles around your eyes contract, creating a natural warmth that people instinctively recognize. A fake smile, on the other hand, involves only the mouth and often comes across as insincere. Research has shown that people can detect inauthentic smiles within milliseconds. And instead of making you more likable, a forced smile can actually create discomfort or distrust. In a social setting, a genuine smile is often the first invitation to a positive interaction. When you smile at someone, it signals friendliness and approachability. Think about a time when you entered a new environment, whether it was a workplace, a party, or even a coffee shop. If you were greeted with a warm, genuine smile, you probably felt an immediate sense of ease. On the other hand, if you were met with blank expressions or indifference, you likely felt less welcome. This reaction is deeply rooted in human psychology. We are wired to seek safety and belonging, and a smile is one of the simplest ways to signal both. A smile also has a contagious effect. Psychologists call this facial feedback theory, which suggests that our facial expressions can influence our own emotions as well as those of others. When you smile, even if you weren't initially feeling joyful, your brain starts to associate the expression with happiness. The same happens when someone sees your smile. They subconsciously mimic the expression, which can elevate their mood. This is why we tend to feel more comfortable and uplifted around people who smile frequently. In professional and social settings, smiling has a direct impact on likability. Studies have found that people who smile more often are perceived as more competent, trustworthy, and confident. This is particularly important in situations like job interviews, networking events, or public speaking engagements. A confident smile signals self-assurance and puts others at ease, making it easier to form connections and leave a lasting impression. However, it's important to note that a smile should be authentic and context appropriate. There are times when smiling excessively or at the wrong moments can backfire. For example, if someone is sharing a serious or emotional experience, an ill-timed smile may come across as dismissive or inappropriate. The key is emotional intelligence, understanding when a smile is needed and ensuring it aligns with the situation. Beyond human interaction, smiling can also have profound effects on personal well-being. Since smiling triggers positive chemicals in the brain, it can actually reduce stress and lower blood pressure. Studies have shown that even forcing a smile in difficult situations can help shift your mindset and make challenges feel more manageable. This is why many therapists and psychologists encourage smiling as a simple yet effective tool for improving mental health. A genuine smile is a small gesture with enormous impact. It costs nothing, yet it has the power to transform relationships, create opportunities, and even improve your own emotional state. When you smile authentically, you invite warmth, connection, and positivity into your life. And the best part, it doesn't just benefit you, it makes the people around you feel better too. The rule of reciprocity is one of the most powerful psychological triggers influencing human behavior. It is a fundamental principle deeply embedded in social interactions, shaping the way we build relationships, establish trust, and create meaningful connections. At its core, reciprocity is the idea that when someone does something for us, we naturally feel inclined to return the favor. This automatic response is not just a learned behavior, but an ingrained part of human psychology that governs many of our daily interactions. From an evolutionary perspective, reciprocity has played a crucial role in the survival of societies. Early human communities thrived on mutual cooperation, where acts of giving and returning favors ensured survival. If one person shared food, helped build shelter, or protected others, they could expect the same in return when needed. This system of mutual exchange fostered trust and strengthened social bonds, which is why reciprocity remains a fundamental aspect of human nature today. One of the most fascinating aspects of reciprocity is that it operates on both conscious and subconscious levels. When someone does something kind for us, whether it's offering a compliment, lending a helping hand, or giving a thoughtful gift, we experience a sense of psychological debt. This feeling is not necessarily negative, but it creates an internal drive to restore balance by reciprocating in some way. Even if the original act was small, the recipient often feels compelled to return the favor with something of equal or greater value. This is why even minor gestures, such as holding the door open for someone or smiling at a stranger, can lead to a cycle of positive interactions. Reciprocity is evident in everyday life, from personal relationships to business and marketing strategies. In friendships, for example, when one person consistently makes an effort to check in, offer support, or show kindness, the other person is likely to respond in kind. Relationships built on mutual giving tend to be stronger and longer lasting because both individuals feel valued and appreciated. On the other hand, when one person constantly gives without receiving anything in return, the relationship can become imbalanced, leading to resentment or a sense of being taken for granted. In the business world, companies and marketers frequently leverage the rule of reciprocity to build customer loyalty and encourage purchases. Free samples, discounts, and complimentary services create a sense of obligation in consumers, making them more likely to buy a product or return as a loyal customer. For instance, when a coffee shop offers a free cup of coffee to new customers, many will feel inclined to return and make a purchase in the future. Similarly, in content marketing, businesses provide valuable information, free resources, or helpful insights, knowing that their audience will be more likely to support them by purchasing products or services in return. Reciprocity also plays a significant role in leadership and teamwork. Leaders who recognize and appreciate their team members' efforts foster a culture of trust and cooperation. When employees feel valued and supported, they are more likely to go above and beyond, contributing to a positive and productive work environment. In contrast, leaders who demand effort without reciprocating with recognition, support, or opportunities for growth often struggle to maintain employee motivation and engagement. Despite its many benefits, reciprocity can also be exploited. Some individuals or organizations use it strategically to manipulate others into feeling obligated to comply with requests. For example, a salesperson might offer a small freebie, knowing that the customer will feel pressure to make a purchase. While this tactic can be effective, it is important to approach reciprocity with genuine intentions rather than as a tool for manipulation. Authenticity matters. People can often sense when a gesture is made with an ulterior motive, which can lead to distrust rather than goodwill. At its best, the rule of reciprocity fosters genuine relationships, mutual support, and a culture of kindness. It is a reminder that small acts of generosity can create lasting impacts, inspiring others to pay it forward. When reciprocity is practiced with sincerity, it strengthens social bonds, builds goodwill, and enhances both personal and professional relationships. By giving without expecting immediate returns, we create a ripple effect that leads to a more connected and compassionate world. Active listening is one of the most powerful tools in human connection. It goes beyond simply hearing words. It involves fully understanding, processing, and responding in a way that makes the speaker feel valued and heard. In a world where distractions are constant and conversations are often rushed, true active listening has become a rare skill. Yet those who master it instantly become more likable, respected, and influential. At its core, active listening is about presence. Many people listen with the intent to reply rather than to understand. They wait for their turn to speak, mentally preparing their response while the other person is still talking. This habit leads to surface-level interactions where real connection is lost. On the other hand, when someone listens with genuine attention, Without interrupting or thinking ahead, the speaker feels an immediate sense of trust and appreciation. One of the key components of active listening is eye contact. Maintaining eye contact signals engagement and attentiveness. It reassures the speaker that they are being heard and that their words matter. However, eye contact should be natural, not forced. Staring too intensely can make someone uncomfortable, while avoiding eye contact can create a sense of disinterest. The balance lies in being present and engaged without making the interaction feel unnatural. Another essential element of active listening is body language. Nodding occasionally, leaning slightly forward, and mirroring the speaker's expressions all contribute to a feeling of connection. When someone shares something personal or emotional, a slight change in facial expression like a raised eyebrow, a concerned look, or a small smile can show empathy without the need for words. These subtle cues demonstrate that you are not just hearing the message, but also feeling and understanding it. Asking thoughtful follow-up questions is another powerful way to show that you are truly listening. Instead of responding with generic phrases like, "That's interesting," or "I understand," asking questions like, "How did that make you feel?" or "What happened next?" encourages deeper conversation. It signals that you are engaged and genuinely interested in their thoughts and experiences. When people feel that their words matter, they naturally feel more connected to the listener. Paraphrasing and summarizing what someone has said is another effective technique in active listening. By briefly restating what the speaker shared, you not only show that you were paying attention, but also give them a chance to clarify if needed. For example, saying, "So what you're saying is that the project deadline was moved unexpectedly, and now you're feeling overwhelmed," allows the speaker to confirm or correct your understanding. This small act reassures them that their message was received accurately. Avoiding interruptions is one of the simplest yet most overlooked aspects of active listening. When someone is speaking, cutting them off, even with good intentions, can make them feel unheard. Many people interrupt because they are eager to share their own experiences or advice, but doing so can derail the speaker's train of thought. Instead, waiting for a natural pause before responding shows patience and respect. Active listening also involves being fully present, which means eliminating distractions. Checking a phone, glancing around the room, or mentally multitasking while someone is speaking can make them feel unimportant. Giving someone your undivided attention, even for a few minutes, can make a significant difference in how they perceive the conversation. One of the most profound effects of active listening is that it fosters emotional connection. When people feel truly heard, they feel understood and valued. This creates stronger relationships, whether in friendships, romantic partnerships, or professional settings. Leaders who practice active listening build trust with their teams. Friends who listen deeply create lasting bonds. Even in casual interactions, people naturally gravitate toward those who make them feel heard. Ultimately, active listening is not just about words. It's about making others feel seen, heard, and appreciated. It requires patience, empathy, and presence, but the rewards are immense. Those who master this skill find themselves forming deeper relationships, gaining greater influence, and becoming more likable in every area of life. Touch is one of the most powerful yet often overlooked ways to create connection, trust, and warmth in human interactions. It is a fundamental part of communication, deeply ingrained in human nature. From the moment we are born, touch plays a critical role in our development, influencing our emotions, relationships, and even our well-being. While words convey information, touch conveys emotion, often more powerfully than language ever could. When used appropriately, it has the ability to enhance likability, foster trust, and deepen human bonds. The psychological effects of touch are profound. Studies have shown that even a brief, light touch can release oxytocin, often referred to as the bonding hormone. Oxytocin is responsible for creating feelings of trust, safety, and connection between individuals. This is why a comforting hug, a reassuring pat on the back, or a warm handshake can instantly make people feel closer to one another. The brain processes touch as a signal of care and attention, which strengthens social bonds and increases likability. One of the most common forms of touch in everyday interactions is the handshake. A firm, confident handshake has long been recognized as a universal gesture of respect and goodwill. It sets the tone for first impressions, influencing how people perceive confidence, sincerity, and professionalism. A weak or hesitant handshake can sometimes convey insecurity, while an overly aggressive grip can feel domineering. Finding the right balance, firm but not forceful, is key to making a positive impression. Beyond handshakes, subtle and appropriate touch can enhance social interactions. For example, a light touch on the arm when making a point in conversation can make interactions feel more personal and engaging. In studies on social influence, people who lightly touched someone's arm while making a request were significantly more likely to receive a positive response. This effect works because touch creates a subconscious sense of connection, making people more receptive and comfortable. However, the key word is appropriate. Touch must always be respectful and situationally aware. Cultural differences, personal boundaries, and individual preferences all play a role in determining whether touch is welcomed or uncomfortable. In some cultures, physical touch is an integral part of communication, while in others, it is reserved for close relationships. Being mindful of context is essential. What feels natural in a warm social setting may not be appropriate in a formal or professional environment. Touch is especially powerful in conveying empathy and support. When someone is experiencing stress, sadness, or anxiety, a reassuring touch on the shoulder or a comforting hug can communicate understanding in a way that words often cannot. Studies have shown that patients who receive touch from caregivers report lower levels of pain and anxiety. Similarly, athletes who engage in high fives, pats on the back, or celebratory embraces with teammates tend to perform better and feel a greater sense of camaraderie. In romantic relationships, touch plays an even deeper role in building connection and intimacy. Holding hands, hugging, or simply sitting close to each other can strengthen emotional bonds and increase feelings of security. Touch is a form of nonverbal communication that signals affection, care, and closeness. The absence of touch in relationships can sometimes create emotional distance, while regular affectionate touch fosters warmth and trust. Interestingly, even self-touch has psychological benefits. Placing a hand over your heart, rubbing your palms together, or lightly massaging your temples can create a sense of self-soothing and relaxation. This is because the body responds to touch with the same calming chemical reactions, reducing stress and promoting emotional well-being. Despite its benefits, touch should always be used with awareness and consent. Everyone has different comfort levels when it comes to physical contact, and respecting personal boundaries is crucial. A good rule of thumb is to observe body language. If someone leans in and reciprocates touch, they likely feel comfortable. If they pull away or seem tense, it's best to respect their space. In both personal and professional life, touch has the potential to enhance interactions, create positive impressions, and deepen relationships. When used thoughtfully and appropriately, it becomes a subtle yet powerful tool for making people feel valued, understood, and connected. First impressions are powerful. In just a few seconds, people form lasting opinions about us, opinions that can influence everything from personal relationships to career opportunities. This phenomenon is largely driven by what psychologists call the halo effect, a cognitive bias where our overall impression of a person influences how we perceive their character, abilities, and even their future behavior. Essentially, if someone makes a positive first impression, we are more likely to view everything about them in a favorable light. Conversely, if the initial impression is negative, it can be difficult to change that perception later. The human brain is wired to make quick judgments. Studies show that people form first impressions within the first 7 seconds of meeting someone, often based on visual cues such as appearance, body language, and facial expressions. This rapid assessment happens subconsciously and is influenced by deep-rooted evolutionary instincts. In the past, quick judgments helped humans determine whether someone was a friend or a threat. Today, while the stakes may not be about survival, the impact of first impressions is still significant in both personal and professional settings. One of the most influential factors in the halo effect is physical appearance. People who are well-groomed, dressed appropriately, and carry themselves with confidence tend to be perceived as more competent, intelligent, and trustworthy. This is not to say that looks define a person's worth, but rather that appearance plays a role in shaping initial perceptions. This is why job candidates who dress professionally often have an advantage in interviews, and why brands invest heavily in attractive packaging, because people associate a polished exterior with quality and credibility. Beyond appearance, body language is a crucial part of first impressions. Nonverbal cues such as posture, hand gestures, and facial expressions communicate more than words ever could. Standing tall with an open posture signals confidence, while slouching or avoiding eye contact may suggest insecurity or disinterest. A warm smile can make someone instantly more likable, while crossed arms may create an impression of defensiveness. Since people often decide how they feel about someone before they even speak, mastering positive body language is key to making a strong first impression. Tone of voice also plays a significant role in the halo effect. Studies have found that the way we say something often carries more weight than what we actually say. A calm, confident, and friendly tone can make a person seem more credible and approachable, whereas a hesitant or monotonous voice may make them appear uncertain or unengaged. Even slight variations in pitch and pacing can influence how others perceive our competence and trustworthiness. The halo effect extends beyond personal interactions. It also impacts how we judge leaders, celebrities, and brands. For example, if a public figure is seen as charismatic and successful, people are more likely to assume they are also intelligent, kind, and ethical, even if they have no evidence to support these beliefs. Likewise, if a company delivers exceptional customer service, customers are more likely to assume that all aspects of the company, including its products, are high quality. This bias works both ways. If someone makes a negative first impression, perhaps by appearing disorganized, unfriendly, or inattentive, others may unconsciously attribute negative traits to them, even if those judgments are unfair. This is why recovering from a poor first impression is so difficult. People tend to filter future interactions through their initial perception, reinforcing their original opinion rather than giving the person a fair chance. The good news is that awareness of the halo effect allows us to use it to our advantage. Since first impressions are largely based on small controllable factors, we can take steps to ensure we are presenting ourselves in the best possible light. Simple actions like dressing appropriately for the occasion, maintaining good posture, making eye contact, smiling, and speaking with confidence can all contribute to a more positive perception. At the same time, understanding the halo effect can also make us more mindful of our own biases. It reminds us to look beyond first impressions and evaluate people based on their actions and character rather than snap judgments. By recognizing this cognitive bias in ourselves, we can become more open-minded, fair, and objective in the way we perceive and interact with others. In a world where opportunities often come down to how we present ourselves, the power of first impressions cannot be underestimated. The first 7 seconds may not define everything about a person, but they certainly set the stage for how they will be perceived moving forward. Being intentional about those first moments can make all the difference in how we connect, influence, and leave a lasting impact on the people we meet. Similarity is one of the strongest psychological triggers that make people more likable. Humans are naturally drawn to those who share common interests, values, backgrounds, or experiences. This is because familiarity creates comfort, and when we see a reflection of ourselves in someone else, we feel an immediate sense of connection and trust. The power of similarity is evident in friendships, romantic relationships, business partnerships, and even everyday social interactions. When people perceive someone as one of us, they are more likely to be open, cooperative, and engaged. At its core, the preference for similarity is deeply rooted in human psychology. Evolutionarily, people were more likely to survive in groups where they shared common goals, beliefs, and ways of communicating. Those who belonged to the same tribe or community were perceived as safer and more trustworthy, while outsiders were met with caution. Even in today's modern world, this instinct remains strong. People feel a natural affinity toward those who seem familiar or relatable. One of the most powerful ways similarity influences likability is through shared interests. Whether it's a love for the same sports team, a passion for music, or a mutual hobby, common interests create an instant bond. When two people discover they have something in common, conversations flow more easily and a sense of camaraderie develops. This is why small talk often involves asking about hobbies, favorite movies, or travel experiences. People are instinctively searching for a point of connection. Another key aspect of similarity is shared values and beliefs. People are naturally drawn to those who see the world in a similar way. This is why individuals with the same political views, religious beliefs, or social values often form close relationships. Shared values create a sense of understanding and mutual respect, which makes interactions feel more meaningful and authentic. Even in the workplace, employees who align with a company's culture and values tend to feel more engaged and satisfied. Similarity also plays a crucial role in communication styles. When people speak in a similar way, using the same phrases, tone, or humor, it creates a sense of familiarity. This is why people from the same region or background often feel an instant connection, even if they are meeting for the first time. Mirroring, a technique where individuals subtly mimic the body language and speech patterns of the person they are talking to, is a powerful way to create rapport. Research has shown that when someone unconsciously mirrors another's gestures or speech, it increases feelings of trust and likability. The power of similarity extends beyond personal relationships and into business and leadership. Customers are more likely to buy from brands they feel align with their identity and values. This is why companies often market their products in a way that resonates with specific audiences, making them feel understood and represented. In leadership, managers who can relate to their employees on a personal level build stronger, more motivated teams. When employees feel their leaders understand them, they are more likely to trust and follow their guidance. Even in negotiations and conflict resolution, similarity plays a key role. Studies have found that when negotiators highlight commonalities before discussing differences, they are more likely to reach positive outcomes. Simply acknowledging